Hey guys, it's me. And as of recent, I happened to notice a certain controversy going around and supposed I would give my own opinions. Yes, this is my voice. I'll be back with the normal kind of content I do, but I thought I'd give my own opinions on somewhere where I had more than 0 followers. So instead of starting a brand new channel for Sonic arguments or topic-related things. This is just going to be one rant video among the many editing-related Sonic videos that I do. So, let's just get right into it then. So to start off, this is just one case. I heard one argument, so I just thought I'd call one argument out just to say it was a stupid argument. Seen someone said that Sonic's model is bad because Fortnite was trying to put it into the game, but Fortnite couldn't put Sonic into their game because Sonic just doesn't have the right proportions, and they would have to change him to look more human-like with his proportions. That does not mean there's a problem with Sonic's proportions whatsoever, and to change his proportions in the game would be a big mistake, and I'll explain why later on in the video, but moving on past that. Firstly, being Sonic's model looks lifeless and expressionless for the majority of the time, and I don't know if I can pull up the picture or not, but people keep pulling up that Sonic anniversary picture with the model, and saying that Sonic has no life in his model. And I feel like that's unfair for a picture, and I understand. The models do look lifeless, okay? And the model does look lifeless, but, you know, I'm going to ask you something. Look no further than Sonic Prime. Sonic Prime, no matter how much people want to say it was bad writing, and I can completely agree with that. Terrible writing, but it was very much enjoyable. I mean, I stuck around and didn't really get too bored during the final battle that everyone condemns for being so long. But the point is, with all the squash and stretch and putting used to Sonic's big eyes and hands and face and mouth, they were really able to nail down the appeal and the expression from him. He doesn't look lifeless. He looks very full of life. And the model is very, very similar to the modern games we have now. It's like a cross between the Heroes model and our modern model with some fur textures added onto it. And that's what the model looks like in Prime, and it works well. So, for all you asking for a redesign, that won't work. I understand Sonic is due for a redesign. He needs one eventually, even though I don't want to admit that maybe now would be a good time, which now is not a good time. Now is not a good time. In my opinion, if we just waited for us to get in a better place as the franchise moves forward, we're kind of we're moving upwards, but we haven't reached where we need to be. We're getting better, but I think now is a bad time. It's part of that curse that comes with the franchise. You know, every time something good starts happening, something bad happens, and then it goes straight down. Then we go up, and then we go down. I think this is the thing that will bring it down, if they decide to listen to us now. I think what would be better is if we just waited for us to get to that peak and just plateau and just complete quality. Just keep coming up with more and more quality. Then, when we're in a good spot as the franchise goes on and we're in the best spot, I think that would be the perfect time then to change the model, not to copy Mario and be like, say, well, they did it, so why don't we? And then to point out, oh, this looks lifeless and this looks lifeless, but be honest with yourself. Let's just go back. Look at Adventure's original model. Look at Adventure DX if you want to. Or look at Sonic Heroes model, okay? Or the model they used for Sonic Adventure 2. All of these models, they look just as lifeless in a picture as they do in the modern Sonic models. And I understand, you know, they can do more with it. That's my entire point, though. Instead of asking for a redesign, if they decide to do that, it won't end up working out the way we think. These same people who are complaining about needing a redesign because it looks so lifeless are going to keep complaining that it's lifeless, because even if they do a redesign, it's not going to look lifeful until they decide to start using his proportions and his expressiveness properly. So instead of asking for that, we should be asking for the writers, to step it up, as we would say, and to really nail down Sonic's personality, not just through voice acting and through the voice actors, but through the animation as well. And even in pictures, just look at Uekawa's artworks for Sonic Adventure 2. They look lifeful. They look full of color. They look colorful. They look full of life. They look amazing. And majority of the Sonic art nowadays does as well. Fan art has gone different places, shall we say, but a lot of Sonic fan art is pretty good and looks great. Nothing to replace Uekawa's work, though. His is the best in the entire franchise. But this is not a matter of model. This is a matter of what they do with the model. And another thing is, what would you like them to do? Another point is, if you want them to change the model, right, what do you want them to do with the model? They can't make, talking about the proportions here, they can't make the proportions bigger, because that would only make the problem we have with it worse. But making them smaller won't do us any good either. So we're kind of stuck with, what do you want them to do? I mean, sure, they could kind of do a redesign, but there's only so much you can do with the Hedgehog before you kind of don't have Sonic anymore. It's just a hedgehog who's blue. It's just an anthropomorphic hedgehog who happens to just be blue, instead of, this is Sonic the Hedgehog. Now that I've covered all of that, right, for the last bit, and I'm sorry if you disagree with me, but I just gotta tell you flat out, and this is just my opinion, but I just gotta tell you flat out, if you think they should change Sonic's proportions, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. Because Sonic's proportions are the entire thing that makes him appealing. They're the whole thing, everything that is appealing about him, everything that you think looks cool about him, comes from his proportions. His long, more lanky design, starting from Uekawa's artwork, translating to the games, and then the models started to get more and more like that. It's, like I said, it's a matter of design, right? It's a matter of, yes, the design has to look cool, but you also have to do something with the design, or else it'll fall flat. And like I said, the franchise should not be focusing on spectacle and should be more focused on quality. Hint, hint, Sonic Forces. But, or Sonic, Advance 2, if you want to go there, but I personally enjoy Sonic Advance 2, and 1 and 3. They're my favorite 3 games ever to exist. But the point is, we shouldn't be focusing on that, right? His proportions, they're the very thing that makes him so appealing, that gives him that edge of just looking so cool, and just, his proportions are the reason that, he looks as cool and as lifelike and lifeful as he can. So to change those proportions would just be idiotic. So, stuff like that, yeah, they could change how he looks, like they did from, Adventure 1 to 2, and then on to Heroes, and then now the modern day model. Yes, they can change it up like that. And sure, they did mess with the length. I mean, how tall he was, and tall and thin he was, versus Sonic Adventure, especially the original, where he was a little wider and shorter, but he still kept the same big hands and shoes and, things like that. He kept them all like that, and that's a good thing, because he needs to keep that, otherwise he just looks awful and terrible. And so, I'm sorry, I hate to tell you, but if you're asking them to change the proportions on him, especially now when we're just starting to get better as a franchise, and you want them to now focus on the thing that they focused on during Sonic Forces, and that's the entire reason that it flopped. You want the entire franchise to be focused on Forces, you know, on the thing that made Forces a bad game. You want the whole franchise to focus on that just because Mario was going to come out with a new game and, oh, well, they got a redesign. Look, I'm not saying Sonic doesn't need a redesign. Personally, I love the old one. But all I'm saying is, first off, he doesn't need it just yet. We need to wait a little bit. Second off, a redesign is yes and due, but I just don't really think we should need it. Third off, let's just try and ignore. Let's just try and not, be so focused on, oh, when Mario gets it, why doesn't Sonic get it? I understand you want Sonic to be the best he can, even beat Mario. I get it, but asking them to take away the very thing that makes Sonic look appealing and makes him look cool and gives him that very lifelike, very the exact opposite of lifeless kind of look, to strip that away and say change his proportions is just preposterous and just downright evil. No, but downright just idiotic to ask for. Instead, let's just be focused on how good our games are. Anyway, that's just my point. That's just my opinion. Thank you for watching, and Sega, please don't redesign them just yet. Alright.